Welcome to Meow Wolf Fan 1, the first #1 fan of Meow Wolf. The first question anyone has when hearing about Meow Wolf is, what is Meow Wolf? Meow. And it's really hard to describe because there's nothing to compare it to yet. It's one of a kind. But I figured the best way for me to introduce it to you is the way it was introduced to me. I first heard about Meow Wolf from an article that was circulating around Facebook back in 2016. It was an article on Ars Technica by Annalee Newitz. It was titled Inside Meow Wolf, the amusement park for people who want a weirder Disneyland. I'm a huge fan of Disneyland and Disney parks, so this piqued my interest. The subtitle gets even more interesting. A high-tech storytelling game world. Weirder Disneyland, high-tech storytelling game world. What is that? I don't know what it is, but I know I want to go there. So let's see, this article starts off the way most do, by mentioning that it is the brainchild of George R.R. Martin, author of Game of Thrones. Okay, that's kind of cool. So what else we got here? Think of it as a walk-in science fiction novel, or maybe it's a cross between Disneyland and a massive multiplayer in-real-life game. In the same way that if I told you in great detail about my favorite book or movie, you would not have read that book or seen that movie until you experienced it yourself. And this is an entirely different level of that because you have to walk around and touch it and smell it and breathe it. Your goal is to figure out why an old Victorian house has become ground zero for a rupture in space-time that's allowing other dimensions to leak into ours. Annalee Newitz says that she was able to take a tour of Meow Wolf in the final few days before it opened with Lauren Oliver, who crafted the Space Owl, one of Meow Wolf's most well-known and well-loved mascots now, the Space Owl, and the technology lead, Corvus Brinkerhoff. There are just a few simple guidelines. Touch everything. Go anywhere. Be nice. Try not to break anything. And whatever you do, don't pee in the toilet. The first thing visitors see as they enter Eternal Return is a full-scale 2-story Victorian house owned by the Selig family. Our fearless protagonist here, Annalee Newitz, is instructed to just go inside. She talks about this VCR that is so intriguing. She says they're hacking an old VCR that's part of the family room's entertainment system, where visitors can play videos owned by the Seligs to gather clues about what happened in the house. Of course, no analog technology is actually involved. Each video cassette is fitted with an RFID. The VCR has a reader inside that signals the Meow Wolf servers to send the right video to the television set. I'm the kind of person that if I go there and there's like a pile of video cassettes that have clues on them, I will sit there and I will watch them all. When I actually did get to go, this mechanism was no longer there. Or maybe it wasn't working. I'm not 100% sure. If any viewers know about the VCR and its ultimate fate, just anything about it at all, I would love to know personally, and I will mention you in a future video for sure. Then we go into the dining room where the interdimensional incident took place. You can explore every room in the house, including the aforementioned toilet, whose position directly over the dining room disaster gives it a special vantage point.
There's supposed to be a little guy in here, but I don't see him. Oh, he's way down in there.
Or you can enter another dimension by wiggling under the stairs, walking inside the refrigerator, wandering out a window on the upper floor, or exiting the house through other unexpected portals. Apparently, when the event warped the dining room, it blasted open entrances to an ice cave, an enchanted forest, a Star Trek-like spaceship, and a lot of places too strange to put into words. Accurate. Then she says, on my journey through Eternal Return, I managed to piece together a rough understanding of what happened in the house. Without giving away any spoilers, I can say a few things about what to expect. And then she goes on to talk about what she calls real-life virtual reality, which is another great descriptor of what Meow Wolf is. The Selig family's history goes back generations, but our main characters are a woman who is an artist, a man who is an inventor, and their young son. As we walk through their home, we gradually realize this is no ordinary family. In fact, they have always had peculiar powers. The woman deals with this in her art, and her husband uses science to figure out what exactly their powers might be. When something tragic happens to their son, things spiral out of control. The couple try to get their son back, but they wind up unleashing forces far beyond their understanding. The house is blown open, both literally and transdimensionally, with exits leading into other universes that are profoundly influenced by the Selig family's dreams and desires. Each part of the space and every object fits into a coherent, well-planned story. You can focus only on what happened to the Seligs in their dining room, or you can plunge into stories about their ancestors, their scientific experiments, and even their fantasies. Within the other dimensions are further stories, dreams within dreams. Though Eternal Returns creators call it an art space, it feels much more like a real-life MMO. You can read Selig family journals, open their drawers, and take any number of pathways to find answers. The photos included with this story are amazing. One of my favorite photos is captioned, "A glowing city lurks inside a metal locker." This is actually sort of a behind-the-scenes photo. This tiny city thing is in a little hovel you can kind of crawl into and look at. The photo that she has here seems to be the way the artists would access it. We went there with my 1-year-old son. This little city was his favorite part. He spent a lot of time looking at the windows and things. Another great secret behind-the-scenes photo is that there is a spaceship looking object. It's closed off, like you can see it, but you can't go inside it. But she has a photo here with the artist and also a photo of the inside. There's very little in the House of Eternal Return that you can't climb into and explore, and this is one. She has a picture of what appears to be newly sculpted skeleton of a mastodon. I had an epiphany in a room that Brinkerhoff called the teenage girl's room. The windows were covered with Dance Dance Revolution curtains. The bed was covered in frills. What did this room have to do with the Seligs? They have no teenage daughter, so who is this mysterious girl who lived in this place? What this article does not mention is that the Seligs actually have a son and a daughter. They're twins, and a lot of people write off this teen girl room as being their daughter's room, but it's definitely not, because the twins share a room. They have a bunk bed. They have a room that has both their stuff in it, stuff with both their names on it. And this room is never mentioned. And even if you did want to argue that this is Morgan is the girl twin's name, that this is Morgan's room, no, it's definitely not. Because when you learn about Morgan, she is not this kind of a girl. She's very shy and thoughtful, and she likes flowers and plants. The little room under the stairs is like her secret little playroom with all her stuff, and you can see that it's a completely different style than the bedroom. So this space and this space do not belong to the same person. I will do an entire video on it, I promise, because there is a lot to talk about there. She then goes on to talk a little bit about the behind the scenes of Meow Wolf. She does talk about Meow Wolf's long-term plan, and this was back in 2016. To make a profit on their Santa Fe art space, they'll need to attract about 100,000 paying visitors per year. If you are familiar with Meow Wolf now, reading this is kind of funny. Looking now as we have new locations opening all over the country, and Meow Wolf doing pop-up events and VR events and more crazy things every day. She also, in this article, says, pro tip, there are a lot of Easter eggs in the exterior house decorations, so don't forget to take a hard look before you go inside. And now I'm upset because I don't remember looking, really. Again, in the comments, if you know any of these Easter eggs or you have photos or video, please let me know and I will do a future video on this for sure. She also has a section where she was talking to the lead designer about the infamous toilet, which he says arose out of a sort of mundane problem and that he didn't want people, particularly kids, to try and use this toilet. And he says is that Meow Wolf takes cues from places like Disneyland. And it's important to me that children can enjoy themselves in this space. But it's not your typical amusement park. It's sometimes weird and gross. It's art. It's something you don't expect. And he also says that he loves the visual of people waiting in line to get on their knees to look into a toilet. The article concludes like this. It might sound crazy to go all the way to Santa Fe, New Mexico to play a giant game inside an extremely strange amusement park. But that's kind of the point. This is your chance to experience something way beyond the ordinary, and you'd be crazy not to do it. The admission at the time of the article was $15 for residents and $18 for people out of state. And comparing that to tickets to someplace like Disneyland is a no-brainer. You would be crazy not to go. If you haven't been, I hope that you get a chance to go. What is Meow Wolf? If you're curious, please keep watching our channel. Click subscribe and click the bell icon to be notified of all our new videos. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next time on Meow Wolf Fan 1, Meow Wolf's first #1 fan.